This man is just using it to dress down the case and leave it ready for a coal cutting machine which I look at later on. This coal cutting machine undercut the coal. And all the man had to do with the earth was to knock down a lump coal into the area and cut it out.
Other than that, that's the gong. And that's what I would have used last year, picking my matching drills, 20 and 30 for a week, working from right there. I brought 3 blades in every morning, and the blade got drunk from off the cup for the sharp blade. That coal is well metal hard in the mountain is sitting on. It's only soft when you take it out. But that just gives you an idea, but he would be faced the other way, he'd be faced in and his feet out. But that's the workplace. Right going.
You did that?
Yeah, that would be our workplace, yeah. Lying on the rope, seeing that.
You did this?
I did.
Yeah.
I started as a drawer, filling and wheeling first, and then later I went in at that work, with the airpiece.
Oh.
The first week in the mines, it was like somebody kicked every bone in your body. But if you could survive the first week, you're going to be a tough kid. Like, nothing could get any worse than this when we faced the world after. I left here and went to London, no matter how bad it was, it couldn't be any worse than that. Yeah. Eating a sandwich on the side of the road, but I'd laugh. I worked in a factory for a while when I hurt my back. And we were in the union here too, like. And if an electrician lifted someone else's ladder, there'd be a strike over it. And they complained about the canteen, it wasn't good enough for them. We had a small canteen where we ate ourselves, and then there was a main canteen, like a big hotel type canteen. And they were still not happy. I was saying that they knew where we sat and ate our lunch on the side of the road. Yes, I'm saying, people are never content no matter what they have.
No.
Now that's the temperature gauge that we never had. She's 50 Fahrenheit.
That's the temperature gauge you never had.
Yeah, she's 50 Fahrenheit. And if you're down in Navan and Meath in the lead and zinc mine, it's a mile down on the ground. The temperature there is 39 degrees Celsius, 100 Fahrenheit. Yeah. Okay, what's your head as you come along here now? That there is a drill now for drilling mudstone, because in our slate, in the mine on top, we had 7 or 8 foot of slate over us and then rock. This mine then, the second one down, is totally different. The rock is right over the coal. So if the bit got blunt in that, you can out the nail. See the nail on the side of it there? Out the nail, put a new bit in the top, put it into that, what I call a goose. And the goose is worked on compressed air. There was a boy got injured with the goose, he ended up in Sligo Hospital, and the nurse asked him what happened. He told him the truth. He says, I got into difficulty with the goose. I don't think she ever realised.
Which is,
Now, all this coal was formed 350 or 360 million years ago in the Devonian and Carboniferous period. The temperature was 3 times what it is today. The Green Party be gone mad. The bark of the scaly tree that formed this coal is out in the museum. It grew to be 10 metres high, 33 foot high. Ferns were known as fern trees because they leaf like a fern, but they grew to be 90 metres or 90 yards high. This part of the world was south of the equator at that time, submerged under water, and that was sediment floating in the vegetation at that time. And the iron ore was denser, so pooled areas like there, in the ecliptical shape. We called them bullets. We didn't like them because they fall on you, or disaster when you're away, you couldn't drill them. Maybe there was more of them back there and there. Now, and I think this was the estuary of a river as well, so that's why the quality was great. We were behind the doors here a few minutes ago. We were behind these 2 doors, see? So this is still the blue line. That's the same road that we came in on, really. Now that's what it looked like. 2 sets of rails. Full hutches of coal went out on the left, empties in on the right. That's an endless rope, it's like a fan belt. So 2.5 mile in, there was 5 mile of rope. When you wanted to extend it on in, you took the frame and wheel down, you moved it forward, and a man came in that knew how to splice that rope and add a new piece in. So that being the blue line, you have to imagine this being the red line across here, the double slope. You also have to imagine a road every 12 yards parallel to this road, all along there and all along that side. So you'd have to imagine in your mind's eye 25 young lads coming out here, or 30 young lads, depending on the mine. at intervals on the rails, full hutches of coal around the curves on both sides. They deposited their hutches there in a level area called the lie and ran back with an empty hutch to fill it again. And if there's no empty when you arrive out, you just have to wait until one comes in on the road. There was one man on day work down there, a clipsman. His job was taking off the empty hutches, putting on the full ones. Over his head was bell wire. The wire was stripped, he joined the two pieces together, and that sent a signal all the way out. And the man outside to start the engine to help him touch. This went on from 8 in the morning until 12 at night. We were paid by the ton, so approximately 3 of those hutches meant a ton. And we also had wooden hutches, and they had a little bit less coal than the stick. One bell was to start, 2 bells was to stop, a continuous bell was an emergency. And we had no control like this in here, there was only set up for us to do it. All you had was the bell when we were Are you happy with that, or will I do it again? 1939, the first of the electric coal cutting machines came into being. The reason Arigna Collieries could use that here at the time, they remortgaged the mines and got the electricity up from Arigna Crusher in the south. But the electricity didn't come into my house in County Sligo until 1963. I remember the Tilly lamp lit pumped and hung up on a hook. And we didn't have any running water either. We didn't have running water in the 70s when I worked in the mines. We just had a boiler of water sitting on the cooker beside the kettle, a basin and a bat basin. A barrel outside the evening. Summertime when that went dry, you went to the well with 2 buckets of the river. And there was plenty of work to be done, it was all manual work, you know. Milking cows before you went to school or work in the morning, tackling the horse and ploughing the fields and mowing. Like I have lads went to university and they've no hands. They don't know how to do nothing really, because they never had to do it.
Yeah.
They have it above in their head, I don't know if they haven't probably in their head. Like when the slates left the house there in the winter there, the big wind, me was up putting up the slates. And the book at the bottom of the lad that hung them for me.
Yeah.
And they tell me how to fix the car, but they won't do it themselves, I have to do it. Well, and I find it hard now, there's a lot of electrics in cars now, there's a lot of shit in cars now, excuse me.
Yeah.
The new ones are worse than ever. I have an 11, I couldn't get the main dealer to fix the wiring for me, that's how bad they're. They don't want to do it. They don't want you to fix. So I had to bring my cousin in the north and go down to him. And he sat in the boot for half a day with 20 different wires and them all the one colour. Eventually, tried and error, we got to go. But imagine the main dealer of Nitton wouldn't do it. That's how bad they don't want to fix that. Someone said the electric cars, nobody wants to buy them second hand or something. They're too expensive, the batteries.
The batteries, yeah, there's a lot.
And the tyres especially because they can't wait to the special tyre.
Yeah.
Australia was a good sale this year, I think. But I suppose eventually, when I be dead, hopefully, they'll all be electric. So that's the Iron Man, and it's capable of cutting over 200 tonne of coal a day. There was a lady in the valley kept lodger, she heard about this Iron Man, and the mighty worker he was. She was wondering who was he staying with. He wasn't staying with her. It's 12 inches high, 2.5 to 3 tonne weight. And it was made by Anderson. Anderson made a lot of machines, Anderson Boys, and Strathclyde, Motherwell. Works like a chainsaw. Teeth revolve around the jib like a chainsaw. And it cuts the air into the bottom of the coal at 90 degrees the machine. Now you could always swing that arm out, take out the kingpin and put it in here this side, if you want to travel and not working with it. But it's 2.5 to 3 tonne, it's a big heavy baby.
How do you get up there?
That's it, I don't know, because I wasn't here. But this is all alien to me, believe it or not. I never worked up at coal, I worked with the coal beside me here. Just that, this mine is just the only one they have for display. But the next road we'll go into is exactly what it's like in my time. Oh, I don't know how they got up there. When we got them, see, in the mines, when we worked in the mines, we worked on ground level and the coal would be there. So we'd bring her in on 2 flat trams on the rail system. You could bring her in 2 halves and put her together, you know. And you could walk her along here with a big wedge. She worked like a winch. So, you know, you put a rail up to the roof there and wedge it. And a man released the lever and that drum here started spinning. And the tension came on the rail, so the rail wouldn't give in. So she wound herself. She's trying to recoil the rope into herself. But the rail won't allow it, so she has to pull herself to the rail. You get me?
Yeah.
And when it reaches the rail, that's what they've done here. Look, the short rail, see? There was 3 men, a man behind the controls, a man with the rail, called a haulage man, and a man, and 3rd man putting up timbers. And there's a loop on the end of the wire rope like that, you see? So he puts the rail into the loop and wedges it in the loop. And when he releases the lever, the big drum spins around and it starts tightening up. And when it reaches the weight, he stops the machine and the whole thing is start all over again. So that goes on like stop, start, stop, start. Noisy, crunching noise of that, yeah? Okay, with that link, watch your hands. You're working in New Jersey. What did you working in New Jersey?
Wall Street.
Oh, the man, the money. Business. Starbucks coffee. I was over there once. Here's that Starbucks coffee. Do you like it? You probably like it.
No.
I never liked the Starbucks coffee. And I see it around the school in Sligo now, the IT. But I saw it over, in China they're trying to sell off shares or something. China's making their own coffee. Yeah, come up here. This is the drill for drilling the rock, or jackhammer. When I lived in London, they called it Paddy's motorbike. And we were at the Irish around known as Paddy's over there. 3 holes to go in, one will compress air to the jackhammer, one to put pressure on the leg. The fact the leg is on that, one miner could work it on his own. That's a converted gas drum full of water. Compressed air drives the water up to the 3rd hose, up and down through the drill, out through the drill bit. See the hole? Yes. And the water then came out on the side of it, in that little pinhole. There's a tungsten bit or head in that. One miner would drill that in 5 minutes. But in years gone by, a miner held a bar there, he rotated it every so often. 2 men took turns with hammers. And the best of them, it took them 2 hours. In the 400 years, there was only 4 fatalities. You fair more on the building site. I think it was down to the older miners keeping an eye on things. There was injuries and broken limbs, and if you broke a finger or a toe, you'd wrap it in a cloth and work away. But a lot of miners did die young and they died slowly. They died from that silica you see glittering in the rock there, do you see it? They died from silicosis. A cousin of my father died at 21 years of age. He was drilling that rock without any water, you see, them for years. They're selling this sandstone at the present time off this mountain across the border to Manox to make glass bottles. Well, you can imagine what it's done to the roads. Yeah. Australia has banned the use of silica sandstone. I don't know about the States. There's a few countries that banned it, but Australia definitely is one of them. You get pneumoconiosis from the coal dust, long-term is black lung. You get white finger from constantly using air picks and jackhammers. I have the white finger. Nowadays you're only supposed to use those for 20 minutes with a special pair of gloves that absorb the shock. Okay, watch your head down as you come up. You actually look your head into there, yeah? Everything's on that side, but it was you only say tall, but don't say much. Just don't drop the food behind you. Yeah, you're grand. Because stay where there's loads of good hanging up in here. You're standing in that spot, really, these two down there. If this was back in my time, the roof would be about that height generally. We walked in like that every day. We'd hold our head sideways and we saw a high spot, we would stand up. Now there was no electric light in here, the electric ceased at the haulage. You're totally dependent on whatever light you had yourself. So that's my old helmet from years ago, so you'd either have it on the helmet or in your hand going in. And I had holes bored in it, I don't know how. And anyways, the last time I wore that I had long hair and a red beard. And it was longer than that man's, and my hair was the way down my back. That time they wouldn't thin your hair, curls all the way down. So it's a difference, I tell you, to wash it when you went home on your beard, because you used to have to use the shampoo in the beard as well, because you were all cold. And the biggest problem was getting the cold from under your eyes. So you think you had eye shadow on you. But anyways, so no electric light. That height. There was rails coming up on timber sleepers, and the coal was always on ground level. So this is the only road exactly what it's like. That's what we walked into. We'd walk into a 3 mile in the morning. We'd leave outside around 8 o'clock or thereabouts. We'd be here before 8:30. Get rest for 5 minutes. Take off your jacket, lie on your side, shuffle down the 6 yards of coal. You'd have that done before 11 o'clock. You'd sit out there on the side of the road and have your piece. Keep your feet in off the rails against a stone filling. Your piece consisted of a whisky bottle of tea, wrapped in a sock or a newspaper, maybe wrapped in nothing, and a sandwich. But if you were sweating, cold tea was hard better. Back in, shuffle out the other hand. Yeah, come up and kind of pull in one. Yeah, if you come in there, yeah. Well, you can stand up because it's high enough for you. Look up.
You just want to see what's in there.
Oh, yeah. Now, you shovel out the second half. When you have that out, you're heading home, be it 12:30, 1:30. Unless the fireman asks you to help someone. If you said to an old miner it was wet, he'd tell you, sonny, you can only get wet once. There's no pity for you. And if you wore a wetsuit, you'd sweat it. So 6 of 1 and never do it. I'd throw a bit of colder to them and shuffle away. 4 o'clock in the evening, a brusher comes. The new man. That's what greets him. The year the coal is gone. Gone all the way down the God, 25 roads in a similar position, or 30 roads. Each man's job is to get rid of that yard of rock. First thing you do, you put up a set of timbers on the edge known as breakers. Another set on the opposite edge. Get your 4-pound hammer, take away the middle timber. That was the dayman's for his safety. Go out to the drill or jackhammer. Drill a hole here in the middle. And then you went out to the magazine and brought in 3 or 4 sticks of gelatinate. The magazine would be a tin box out of the haulage system. If it was very wet, we used Cortex. But we normally use nitroglycerin in the gel form, it doesn't have an infeed. And I think nitroglycerin is now used in a tablet form for people with Arigna. The tablet you put under your tongue for your ticker, TNT, great stuff. Now you cut that strum 3 to 4 foot long. You stemmed it in with a wooden or brass stemmer. You wouldn't use metal in case of friction. All we had was the handle of a brush. So you wedge it up and tighten it up there. And now you shout to the man above and below you, and each miner in turn will shout to the man below him. Are you ready to fire, lads? Eventually the word comes back, fire, or fire in the hole. So you light the fuse. Fuse has a powder residue on it that slows down the burning. Gives you 1 minute for every foot you leave the cord. 3 foot you have 3 minutes, 4 foot 4 minutes. On your way out there, you're engaged, you're listening. You'd like to hear the shot going off. We'd meet at the haulage system, we'd have our piece. We'd wait an hour to allow all the dust and reek from every road to go out and up the airship. Come back afterwards. Big pile of rubber waiting here. Fill a few hutches for the young boy, send it out. But once you got an opening in the gob, you pulled yourself in there, and you stowed and backfilled the slate and rock back there for a couple of yards where the coal was yesterday, a yard wide. Build it like a dry wall at home and wedge it tight. And when you had that completed, you went and done the same on the opposite side. So when you came away from completing that task, the rock was flush on the coal left alongside you there. There shouldn't be any coal there because it should be up here, but it's not just taken out of the mine, it's just for tourism. Now when that miner came out, he might have put up timbers or put down rails. Rails came in 3, 6 and 9 foots were in here. They did come in 12s and 18s for out on the main roads. Now, the last 3 men to come down are the 3 men on the electric coal cutting machine to cut the run for the morning, and everything is ready for 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Before there was any electricity, they used a hand pick. I put the handle on this, I left it a bit too long. A hand pick is 18 inches across there when new. A miner cut for 2 days with that. On the second evening, get your hammer, take the head down off the handle in this direction. The head was brought home to your own house in those times, put into the open fire. You'd redden it, point it, temper it, and bring it back again the next day. A good miner would cut 2.5 to 3 ton of coal a day with a hand pick. He didn't have a fancy helmet, he just had an ordinary man's soft cap. And actually 3 or 4 of the miners were still wearing the soft cap in my time. But to support the carbide lamp, they ran a strip of tin from the middle of the pick out the back and down, and was able to hold the lamp. And there's pictures on the wall to verify that out there. Now going back to the hand pick, they were using candles, penny candles, like a church candle. And I remember my father telling me when my grandfather was mining in Sligo during the war years, it was important to go to the shop the night before and get a packet or 2 of candles. Otherwise there'd be no work the next day. Imagine, they were totally dependent on a packet of candles to get the coal out. On your way into work, you brought in a bit of wet soil or mud. Around here the soil is very poor, sticky daub. You left it down on the bare rock beside you, put the candle into it and lit it. The drawer had a wooden hutch and wooden rails, which I believe was very hard to wheel on. On the bumper of his hutch is mud and his candle. 3 or 4 candles a day would do. In the 70s we used the carbide lamp. In the 1980s they found it hard to get carbide, so they bought electric or battery lamps similar to this one from a Arigna Mining Experience. I normally put out the lights to give you a simulation of an explosion. How does that feel?
Yeah.
Just be aware of your headroom. Just, you know, be conscious of who your head is. If my carbide lamp 20 years ago, I mean, matches were wet, the best thing to do is get down on your hands and knees and follow the rail to the next one with the handle. Now I'm going to lift her now when you stop walking and lift. Now, if everything is off, you won't see your hand in front of your face.
Okay.
No, so that's dark as a dungeon. You haven't seen it that dark in a good while.
Wow, yeah.
That's the only light we get. Right on the young lad's helmet as he wheels such a coal out there. And if you looked up the ground, you'd see the shutter up there with his light on. And that'll be the only lights in these roads. Yeah. You're down beside the bulbs, so, and the bulbs from the back.
Yes.
Now I know what was down there. Bulbs, and after that. My sister lives in Queens, I won't say. She was in the 20,000 first tender. Were you in the house? Yeah, she did the house here. I didn't know. Boyfriend came with boyfriend, you know, they were doing it again. He was now as you came down there, you know, to the bed of the river, and those timbers are there 22 years. There's any ordinary timber, once it's wet all the time.
52 years.
They're 22 years there, yes. But that's the length of all. No, that was a wet home. Yeah. And there's a salt mining carry purchase down in America. When they bring machinery down into the salt mine, you never bring it back up as a settlement. It comes up to the mine with the salt on the rust. But if you bring cancer on it, then it will see it cancer everything. And of course, get your infrastructure all the paintings in salt mines, there's salt in them. And salt was more valuable than gold back in the time of our law because there's no fridges. Now, the only people I forgot to mention was the mothers and wives of the miners. They were the glue that held everything together, and they weren't appreciated for their hard work. Thinking back, I took my own mother for granted. My dinner was cooked, my shirt was washed made, with no fancy facilities. This all started off 23 or 24 years ago. The locals got together, they came up with this community initiative, got money from the government, and they gathered a certain amount. J.P. McManus, a billionaire horseman in Limerick, gave them 50,000. But JP's father came from this valley, and his uncle Owen is on the touchscreen outside talking. It's up, it's running, it's a success so far, but it's down to you folk coming here that keeps it up. So thanks very much for coming and listening to me. Tell your friends to come. If you have anything good or bad to say, hopefully good. There's a book at the desk, Jerry is my name or Jared. And if you'd ever go in on TripAdvisor, Facebook or go book it on the blog. We're a bit off the beaten path, and we could do with any advertisement we can get. Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Oh.
I have some.
No cash at all. Everything is top these days.
When we came out and hit the sunlight on a sunny summer day, your eyes were sore and tender, yet to really jumped into the daylight again. In the winter time, we were working on night shift, you see no daylight, and the wind there. What do you do when you're there then?
I'm retired now.
You're not, you're too old to retire.
I work almost.
Oh, yeah? Well, you originally from New York, yeah?
Yes.
Well, they should be retired at 67. I did retire that a few the man that replaced me last snow and make sure I didn't like talking to people. So I'm kind of here 2 days a week or 3, you know. Sometimes we give 5 days if there's no staff here for me. But I don't have to, I do.
How long were you when you started?
I was 15. When I went back to school and I done my leaving cert, I done several courses down the year. I did a salesmanship course from Manchester when I was leaving, right? And I sold on the road, I sold door to door, sold the overlooking encyclopedia, you know, made American book. I sold insurance, I sold shoes door to door. Wasn't much money in it, but I done it. And I sold weather deer windows in London when I hurt my back, but I was happy on the ground. And I tried every job. I
You
don't
like this?
Huh?
Did you like this?
I don't you know anything, just wasn't, no, why really. It was hard work and simple.
Yes.
There's no need to go to keep it test, sorry. Anyway, tax the moving and here is the tip. I know we make money, but we like it all. It wasn't a crack, enjoyed it. It's good to be like. I mean, you know, it's rough back in the day, you know. You can rough it and survive if you're tough. It's the look of the door. The look of the door. Okay, let's hear this thing. He's not the video. There's pictures on the wall, we'll have this picture of myself over there too. I never gave him a retired one.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, enjoy your food now.
And soon as you will, you recommend getting in touch. This man was known as